All right, I'll call the March meeting of the Park and Rec Board to order. With that, Sally, I ask you to do a roll call.
Chairman Steve Hill, absent. Acting Chairman David Brush.
Here.
Member Sandra Douglas.
Here.
Member Kohlmeyer.
Here.
Member Reimer.
Here.
Member Volkman.
Here.
Member Walker.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We're going to start with recognizing a couple of long-term employees of the Park and Rec Department that have left the organization. The first resolution of appreciation is for Thomas Wilson, and I'll read the resolution. Whereas Thomas N. Wilson has been a dedicated employee since July 11th, 1994, and whereas Thomas N. Wilson has been a devoted public servant providing ground maintenance at Deer Path Golf Course for over 20 years, and whereas his care of Deer Path Golf Course has endured that this beautiful open space continued to meet the expectations of the community, and whereas his oversight of renovations to the course created an excellent golfing experience, and whereas Thomas N. Wilson has contributed to the preservation and improvement of the quality of life in Lake Forest by serving as a loyal and dedicated employee, and whereas the citizens and members of the Park and Rec Board recognize and are deeply appreciative of the work he has done. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Park and Rec Board that the Board, on behalf of the administration and residents of the community, hereby express its appreciation and gratitude to Thomas N. Wilson for a public service faithfully performed. And be it further resolved that this resolution be appropriately inscribed and conveyed to Thomas N. Wilson, with a copy to be included in the official minutes of the March 17th, 2015 meeting of the Park and Rec Board. And we will also recognize Gildardo Barajas, whereas Gildardo Barajas has been a dedicated employee since July 6, 1999, and whereas Gildardo Barajas has been a devoted public servant providing for the mechanical operations at Deer Path Golf Course for over 15 years, and whereas his care of the Deer Path Golf Course and the equipment has ensured that this beautiful open space continued to meet the expectations of the community, and whereas his ability to fix just about anything has created a fully operational maintenance shop, whereas Gildardo Barajas has contributed to the preservation and improvement of the quality of life in Lake Forest by serving as a loyal and dedicated employee, and whereas the citizens and members of the Park and Rec Board recognize and are deeply appreciative of the work he has done. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Park and Recreation Board that the Board, on behalf of the administration and residents of the community, hereby express its appreciation and gratitude to Gildardo Barajas for a public service faithfully performed, and be it further resolved that this resolution of appreciation be appropriately inscribed and conveyed to Gildardo Barajas, with a copy to be included in the official minutes of the March 17th, 2015 meeting of the Park and Rec Board. Thank you to both Thomas and Gildardo, who were not able to be here tonight, and we really appreciate your service on behalf of the board. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the January 27th, 2015 Park and Rec Board. Do I have any comments from the board? Do I have an approval?
I recommend approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved, Sally. With that, we'll move on with the opportunity for any citizens that are in the audience here on this St. Patrick's Day to address the board with any questions. Not seeing any, we'll move on. With that, we'll move on to a presentation on Deer Path Golf Course. presented by Rick Walworth from Kemper Sports Management. Rick, welcome.
Good evening, thank you, members of the board. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We want to take an opportunity to shine a spotlight on Deer Path Golf Course, and particularly focusing on the upcoming golf season, whereas those of you who are on our mailing list recently found out today we'll be opening on Friday. It's about a week early than we had planned, and 2 weeks earlier than last year. First off, we'd like to thank the board and the city and the residents of Lake Forest for the opportunity to expand on the scope of our relationship between the city of Lake Forest and Kemper Sports. We are fully committed to the long-term success of Deer Path, and beginning with this season, we'll do everything we can to lay the foundation for a fantastic season and actually a wonderful future as well. I put together a few slides as we go through, highlighting some very high-level focal points for Deer Path in 2015. Right out of the gate, our number one focus is improving conditions. How can we best leverage our company best practices to improving the product at Deer Path? You're familiar with the review process that we take, a true review process, which polls all of the folks who have registered at our golf course per day. Sends them an email asking them 4 simple questions to rate our facility in a few different areas. And over the course of the last 2 seasons that we've been performing that review, the course conditions have consistently ranked as the lowest of the 4 sectors. Food and beverage, course conditions, customer service, overall rating. And that's the area we want to come out of the gate in spring 2015 with our highest focus. So far in 2015, we're looking for improved conditions. We're looking for a little bit different, a healthier food selection in the Sand Wedge Grill, and then heightened marketing and promotional activities. Some of the items we've got listed here specifically at a high level are utilizing our best practices to improve those course conditions, bring those review ratings up as far as the golf course is concerned. We want to have the ability to change, to rapidly change to conditions in the golf course as far as consistency and playability of the turf. We do have a few microclimates, and we have to address them differently. You've all heard us speak from the staff level about the conditions around hole 7, hole 8, hole 11 in that area. They require some different care, and at some points they do require some immediate action that we need to address. So we want the ability to operate quickly and to address those issues before they expand into larger problems. Modernization of the processes we're using, as well as modernization of some of the equipment. Both of those will lead to improved golf course conditions through not necessarily just purchasing new products, but maybe enhancing the products that we do have. There are add-on capabilities on some of the equipment. Maintaining the equipment in-house, which doesn't automatically ensure that it's going to be better care, but it's going to be more immediate care, which is going to allow us to get the product back on the turf and enhance the product as well. One of the areas we'll be focusing on specifically is going to be the tee boxes on the holes and on the driving range. Those areas are a continual source of concern through our review, through our feedback. We're going to institute a more aggressive rotation program so that the damage done by the golfers will be moved around to areas that haven't been used quite as frequently. The more you move those around, the longer the grass can maintain at a high level, gives a chance for the area that's been used to reseed, to germinate, and regrow. We will also have a more aggressive sanding and seeding program on both the driving range and the tee boxes on the golf course. It was done on a routine basis in the past, and we will step up that process to be done on a more regular, more frequent basis in hopes that we can get that germination and that regrowth process to happen more quickly. We've begun to, and those of you, again, who are on the mailing list or in the clubhouse, we have begun to educate the players, in particular when it comes to the driving range, on the proper, what we call divot pattern, the proper usage pattern on the golf course. There's some great pieces of information out there from the GCSA and the USGA on the length of time that grass takes to regrow when you've taken divots in a linear pattern with space in between the lines, and when you've done them in a random pattern, as you'll see on the driving range. And it cuts the time, the healing time, well in half, so it really does speed it up. We're going to continue to educate our players and our members on those practices so that we can make it easier for the turf to grow. Moving over to the food and beverage side, we're going to change the service model from a diner-style service to a traditional floor service. So we will have servers coming out the tables. We will have servers coming out to the patio. That will hopefully improve that service time, accuracy, and then lend a little higher customer service level. It has required a little bit of structural changes in not only the physical layout of the kitchen, but some of the equipment we use to take orders, process orders, et cetera. We're moving through those processes now. The actual product served in food and beverage, we've partnered with Cisco. As a matter of fact, Chef Chuck and I spent an entire day at Cisco's Test Kitchen going over different menu items, trying to find things that are going to fit what we were looking to do, a little healthier, a little quicker service, a little more breadth of items. As I've mentioned to Sally, and she's excited about, we're going to start with next Friday, we're going to start actually having a Friday fish fry. And if it has success, it'll carry on through the Lenten season and afterwards. We are still a small restaurant, however you want to look at it. It only seats about 40, and if you include outside, maybe another 20. But we thought that was a unique offering and maybe a draw that'll bring in some non-golfers to the facility as well. One of the avenues in marketing that we're trying to explore, if you're familiar with the third-party daily deal type sites, we can utilize those type of companies, the Travelzoos, the Living Socials, the Groupons of the world. We can utilize those organizations to help fill our underutilized time. By no means do we want to sell the Saturday morning at 9 a.m. tea time on Groupon for 50% off our rack rate, because that just really doesn't fit the business model that well. However, you can find a lot of success using those outlets for the 4:30 on Sunday, for Wednesday afternoon at 5 when you don't have anything else going on. A good example of that is this is our first season at Deer Path of pairing with Groupon, partnering with them to put an offer out there. And the first 2 weekends it's put out, we've netted about, or we will net once the season starts, we'll net about $20,000 in revenue from that one deal. We've only had it for sale for a little over 10 days, I believe. So there is an opportunity there. It's just how you manage the people who are buying the product at a somewhat lower price, how you manage to put them into a part of your tee sheet where you can fill in some empty spaces where you would have had minimal or no revenue at all. Also new for 2015 is a Deer Path loyalty card. We've brought that out to try to encourage repeat daily fee play. The item is a $50 purchase cost, and when you do purchase it for the first time, you get your greens fee for free at that time. Those folks who have purchased them beginning of the year, we obviously owe them one free round when the season does start. We sold 22 of them before the golf course even opened. I thought that was pretty remarkable. The bulk of these will be sold face-to-face. When somebody comes in on Saturday and they were going to walk and pay $50 to play anyway, you sell them a loyalty card, they're basically getting the product for free. And then on their fifth round, they will get another free greens fee. So you're trying to get them to come back that fifth time. That's really when they begin to become more loyal to your customer or to your golf course versus just shopping around for the best deal. On the membership side, we've brought in 15 brand new members, which is a higher number than we've had many of the last few years. And we've had 4 members who also upgraded. You've heard me speak before to you about downgrades and a membership moving from unlimited passes to some sort of limited play. And I was happy to report that we actually had 4 people who went the other way this year. So I would consider that a real positive going into the beginning of the season. We have partnered with Lake Bluff and Deerfield Golf Course for a reciprocal program. There's been a lot of conversation in the community about that. It's intended for all 3 membership bases at these 3 facilities, these 3 municipal facilities, to be able to offer a value add to their season pass holders. And it's intended to be used when our season pass holders try to book a tee time and we don't have one that fits their needs. At that point, our staff will then contact the other 2 golf courses and find if there is a time available. So it's kind of a relief valve. We don't ever want to turn play away. Particularly, we don't want to turn away our season pass holders. We want them to enjoy the facility that they've committed to. And this is a way for us to do so by adding a single value, keeping them in the area. And it's a very nominal fee. It's $25 for 18 holes of golf with a card at one of the other facilities. So it's a significant discount off of the other 2 facility rates. And then, obviously, we'll gain a little bit of revenue from their players coming our way as well when we have open times. And lastly, on the programming side, I just got off a conference call this morning where we finalized the opportunity for Deer Path to participate in what we're calling the Kemper Cup Chicago. 8 Kemper managed or owned facilities in the Chicagoland area are fielding 12-person teams from their membership or pass holder base, and they'll compete in kind of a league, a 6-match league throughout the summer, and they'll move on through after you've gone through your league, you play in division, a little playoffs, et cetera, and then the winning team out of the group will qualify for a national type program as well through Kemper Sports. So it's a great value add for our season pass holders. They'll get an opportunity in our division to play matches against and at Fox Lake Country Club, the Glen Club, and Bull Valley Country Club. So it's a real excellent value add opportunity for our season pass holders. The structure that we've laid out, this was with the changes that we've had on the staff side. I wanted to put a little information out there. We have retained 11 of the former city employees, so a good portion of our staff will be made up from folks who have been City of Lake Forest employees in the past. And I wanted to kind of have a little layout there of where everybody is going to be structured. And I wanted to point out a couple items. Number one, the folks that we have brought on are extremely experienced. We brought in a full-time mechanic who has more years than myself and most of my golf staff put together. So it's a real blessing to be able to pick somebody up like that and bring them in to work on our equipment. We brought in a very experienced superintendent to lead the grounds crews, and he's very experienced in the North Shore area. So the particularities of it being, cooler by the lake, as they say, and the poana grasses that thrive in that area, have a lot of experience there, and Bill Alstead is going to be a great leader for us down there. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't note that someone you're very familiar with and who's been very valuable to me, Josh Weaver, has been promoted to the position of head golf professional. With the new structure in place, Josh will be in charge of the daily activities of the golf course 100%. So I will have a management team reporting to me made up of Bill Alstead on the course and grounds, Josh Weaver as a head golf professional, Chuck Humphreys, who many of you may know from the beach the last couple of years. Chuck will be a chef and managing the food and beverage operations. And then Richard Franklin is back, and he signed a contract with the golf course to be a director of instruction, managing all the programmings, particularly the junior golf programming. So I couldn't be more pleased with the staff we've been able to put together. There's a lot of experience, not just in the general marketplace, but here at Deer Path, with Richard entering his 5th year under contract here, and then Josh beginning his 4th season here with us as well. So I'm very pleased, I'm very excited, glad that I could be here and promote a little bit of Deer Path to you and everybody, and more importantly, glad that we can say we're going to be open on this coming Friday. Any questions that you have for me, I'd be happy to answer at this time.
Does that mean you're promising nice weather Friday?
If I could make money off of promising nice weather, then I'd be in a much better place. It will be playable. This coming weekend is supposed to be not too bad. We anticipate frost delays from now through usually mid-April, maybe the 3rd week in April. You'll start to get past those frost delays. But we should have some very, very typical weather for this time of year.
Yeah, Rick, I think great work on bringing Josh on as the pro. I know him for many years, and I think it's a great move. And Bill, welcome. Look forward to what I hope is improved course conditions and all the things that the golfers would expect. So my only question for you is, you guys have now been at this for all of 3 or 4 months in terms of your total control of the golf course. Any surprises, or everything seems to be in pretty good order for you guys to be able to get done what you want to get done?
Nothing unexpected. We've gone through and did a full analysis of all the city assets, all the equipment, everything that we had in inventory, if you will, both in the course and grounds and the golf shop, and the food and beverage. Everything was within acceptable levels. Or things that need to be improved upon that we are attacking. Some of the equipment items were in much better shape than we expected. A few were in a little bit more difficult conditions than we expected. But nothing was in such dire straits that it caused alarms or will cause any sort of condition problems on the golf course. If it was 70 and sunny today and tomorrow, we would be at full operation, wouldn't have any issues.
Perfect, thank you. All right, thanks, Rick.
Very good,
And
thank
your
you.
staff, thanks. The next item is a review of the Park and Rec tennis program by Jason Bustecker, the fitness center manager. Hello, Jason.
Hello. Good evening, members of the board. I guess let's start with a little review of the tennis program and how it works with the recreation department. Our current program is contracted out to College Park Athletic Club and has been over the course of the last 6 years. And with teaming up with College Park Athletic Club, they're in charge of the actual instruction. The recreation department basically takes over. We're in charge of registration and handling all the back end stuff. They're basically in charge of everything that happens on the court with instruction, providing instructors the quality, the scheduling, the classes, what time and days they're going to be offered, and obviously hiring the staff to do that. During the fall, winter, and spring seasons, the classes are hosted at their facility off of 294 and 22 for some of you that are familiar with that location. And during the summer, they use the city courts. Primarily, we focus a lot of our programs here at West Park, but we've also used Deer Path, Waveland, and some programming at Everett. So we did go out to bid again for this current contract that is coming to an end with College Park. So we did go out to bid for the program. The bid was published on February 19th, and it was also sent to 4 area tennis clubs. And in response, at the bid opening on March 6th, we received two bids that were actually returned. One from College Park Athletic Club, our current vendor, and one from Midtown Athletic Club. So, as it's noted in the write-up, the College Park Athletic Club came back with a little more favorable of a revenue share than the Midtown Athletic Club. They proposed a 80-20 split, meaning the College Park would receive 80% of the overall revenue and the Parks Department would receive the other 20%. Where Midtown proposed that they would like 85% of the revenue and leaving 15% for the Recreation Department. So staff is recommending that we accept and accept the bid for College Park Athletic Club and move forward with another 3-year contract with them. Any questions I can answer about the program in general?
Yeah, Jason, was there a satisfaction thing with them last year? Did you guys get a kind of review of them or assessment of them from the players and the?
We did do a online survey with them. I believe it was a little over a year ago that we did that. And overall, the results came back very favorable.
Okay.
They were very pleased with their staff, with their location, with the times, the days, the class offerings. There was a couple of other little suggestions in there, but overall, operationally, we didn't have any major red flags that stood out to us. And overall, my experience working with them and managing the program from the Recreation Department has been also very favorable.
And the participant level for the last couple of years then is flat too, I guess, with satisfaction being good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the overall participation level has been pretty well. Overall, I can't say that we've grown a significant in the last 2 to 3 years, but it's maintained its level. It's definitely has been improved since they've taken over in 2009. The revenue as well as participation has increased over that time.
Cool.
Any other questions? Jason and the board action would be to look for a recommendation to approve another 3-year contract for College Park, as recommended by staff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
The next agenda item is a update on EAB tree and stump removals, including a recommendation for the contracts for the upcoming year, presented by Peter Gordon.
Good evening, members of the Park Board. I'm here tonight to seek approval to enter into our FY16 contractual tree removal for Emerald Ash Borer. We kind of gave you a glimpse of this about a month and a half ago when we brought you the accelerated version. This was in your packet. It's since been a little bit refined, and what we're seeking tonight is approval to enter into a contract with our 3 lowest bidders. We did go out to bid in January of this year to receive bidding for tree removal, stump removal, and also restoration. And we have gotten those results back. Our 3 lowest bidders are Canukin, Trees R Us, and Clean Cut Tree Service. You can see that we have estimated quantities. It's important to note 2 things. One is these trees haven't been identified. We don't start tagging those trees until about May. Secondly, this is based on our current inventory tree population. So when you do the math, you'll realize that it comes up to approximately $111,000. We're requesting $190,000. Certainly, at the moment, there's not enough money to fund this, although we're getting to the end, I can assure you that. But we have a lot of unidentified ash trees in our inventory and a lot of ancillary properties and easements and things like that. So this buffer allows us to address those, and that includes park areas and natural areas that really pose a threat to our residents and certainly our users of our parks. We've had great success by allowing multiple bidders to fulfill the obligations of the contract. Sometimes even with our own staff, it can be quite overwhelming to do 500, 700, 800 trees. So by actually going ahead and approving the 3 lowest bidders, you give us a lot of flexibility, but more importantly, you allow us to bring in contractors to abate the nuisance as quickly as possible. So with that, I certainly would be happy to answer any questions. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. There's not a lot of jazz in this. You guys have probably heard this enough. So certainly if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Peter, I know we've talked about this a lot before, but does Canukin get a first crack at it? And then if they don't have capacity, then it flows to the other 2? Is that how it works with the 3 vendors?
Well, what happens is once we get a number of trees in the diameter inches, we go ahead and look at our bids and see who's fulfilling what obligations and who has the lowest price. And so Canukin is our overall low bidder based on our current estimates. So they do have a tendency to get a lion's share of the project. What we try to avoid is giving multiple vendors removals at one particular address. So even if we have trees of varying sizes, we try to give it to one vendor.
The volume obviously is a variable. Is the price, the bid prices, did they change a lot from last year?
Actually, it's the exact same price from Canukin.
Okay.
And certainly they're a local company. They have certainly meet and beat our expectations. They not only do our ash removal, but they do other projects for us as well. And we're very fortunate to have them kind of in our sister community of Lake Bluff. So for them, it's easy in and easy out.
Perfect.
Any other questions for Peter? All right, with that, we'll look for an approval of the 1-year contract. And Peter, it looks like you're looking for approval from Canukin in addition to Trees R Us and Clean Cut Tree Services.
That is correct.
I'll make that recommendation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. With that, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is the approval of contract for ground maintenance services. And Rich Paulson, Park Supervisor, is here to give us a backdrop.
Good evening, members of the board. Thanks for having me this evening. Tonight, staff is seeking approval to enter into a 1-year contract with Landscape Concepts Management for the grounds maintenance areas. This is a extension of last year. I spoke with you about a 3-year contract. Landscape Concepts won that. They're looking for a 3% increase to continue all the mowing and maintenance and all of the same cul-de-sacs, right-of-ways, and city-owned properties. Over the past year, we've been extremely pleased with Landscape Concepts and what they've provided for the city. So that, therefore, we are looking to go ahead and request they be awarded the contract for next year. Not much, I do not have a PowerPoint also, just like Peter for this one. Not much has changed. It's very similar to last year. If you do have any questions, I'd be free to answer.
Questions? All right. So we're looking for an approval of a one-year contract to Landscape Concepts in the amount of $57,514 for the FY16 grounds maintenance of city properties, cul-de-sacs, and right-of-ways.
Recommend approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is somebody going to do Jeff's presentation? Our
Yes,
next
Jeff.
agenda item is the request to seek park approval to request permission to waive competitive bidding to purchase a new basin ramp.
Yes, Jeff Waite could not be with us this evening, so Rich Paulson's going to do the presentation.
All right, Rich.
Okay. Consequently, members of the board, I was just given this yesterday, so bear with me, but I think I can get through it without a problem. I'm very familiar with this basin ramp. Staff is looking to request to City Council to waive the process of going out for bid for the three contracts, or three bids, excuse me. That being said, Team Real is the vendor we'd like to use for this project. They have supplied in 2009 the remaining of the boat basin, all the docks that are down there. I don't know, they are an Easy Dock system. Team Real is the sole vendor in the area for this. And what we're looking to do is to go to City Council to request that we can go after them. Some of the reasons for that is for the familiarity of the staff with the using the same products. It will be as ADA as the lake will allow it. When it goes in, it will be ADA, but when the lake rises and goes up and down, it will be, will fluctuate and whatnot. The new dock system will be removed every year, just like it currently is. This is a picture of the old one. It's constructed in wood. It's in dire need of repair. We've repaired every year as much as we can to keep it up and running. So we're looking to, the bid process on this that went in, like I said, we're looking to go to City Council to waive the competitive bid process and award the purchase, $28,777. And there was $50,000 in the budget for this, so we do have the money budgeted. Any questions? Perfect.
All right, so with that, we'll like an action to direct staff to seek City Council's permission to waive the competitive bid process and further award the purchase of the boat, or the basin ramp to Team Real in the amount of $28,787.06.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Oops, sorry. My fault.
All right. The next agenda item would be, on my agenda, it says comments by interim director. I guess I'm gonna supersede the comments by board members and just congratulate Sally on her appointment as the, I guess we'll call it the permanent director of Park and Rec. So well-deserved, long-term, and geez, Sally, I just couldn't be happier for you. So on behalf of myself, and I'm assuming the rest of the board, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm very energized. I feel like we're moving in a great direction. The staff has been extremely supportive, and I feel very blessed to be here and to work with all of you. Parks and Recreation has been a part of my life forever. Hey. I did start with the City of Lake Forest at the age of 16, and I have about 17 and a half years of full-time work within the Parks and Recreation system. So I just feel truly blessed to be part of this great city and the programs that we have here. So thank you very much. As I go forward, I do have a few things to mention. Coming up shortly, March 28th, is our annual Easter extravaganza, which is our Easter egg hunt that we hold over at Deer Path Middle School. We've changed the program up a little bit this year. This year, we're going to start with entertainment at 9:30 a.m. We have a musician coming in, followed by some games and activities in the cafeteria area, and then hopefully, if the weather holds, we will end the morning with the Easter egg hunt outside. It's a little bit of a flip. We used to do the Easter egg hunt in the middle of the morning, but we found that people would prefer to just do that hunt and then be able to go with their families. So we're looking forward to that fun. If it is inclement weather, we will move the egg hunt indoors. So please plan to join us from 9:30 to 11:30 over at Deer Path. That program is for children ages up to 9 years. Believe it or not, spring break is upon us, and the Recreation Center is offering some activities for the youth. We are hosting a spring break sports camp for kindergartners through fourth graders. It's a great camp. It runs from 9 to noon, Monday through Friday for the week, and if anybody has any questions, please contact John Eldridge at the Recreation Department. For our preschoolers, we're hosting Hooray for Spring. It's located at the Everett Park Room. Again, it's March 30th, 31st, or April 1st, so you can register for 1, 2, or all 3 days. Ages are 3 to 6, and the contact is Chris Faudel, again, at the Rec Center. And that is what we have going on for the end of March.
Perfect. Thanks, Ally. With that, we'll move on to any further comments by any of the board members.
I have one question. Sal, what kind of attendance did we have at Reptile Rampage?
Ooh. You know, Charlie, I think we are had held steady with last year's attendance, so several thousand came through the building. It was a great day. The animals were active, the participants were active. It was just a lot of fun. So, great participation.
Perfect. Anything else? All right, that's it with our agenda, so I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Good job.
6 minutes behind schedule.
I think you beat last month's record.
Must be Sally.
You know, they moved the